Hello and welcome to this edition of EB-5 Investment Report. I'm your host, Amy Rios, and today we are joined by Tom Barnett, Executive Vice President of Inland Investor Visa Group 8, a limited partnership located in Newport Beach, California. The Inland Investor Visa Group 8 guides overseas investors through the EB-5 application process and links them with investment opportunities in the United States. Thank you so much for being here, Tom.
Well, Amy, thank you very much for having me.
Can you tell us about Inland Investor Visa Group 8?
Yes, thank you. I'd be happy to. I mean, we are really sort of the go-between between investors in the foreign countries who are looking to get visas through the EB-5 program and projects in the United States that are, and these are projects that we carefully vet to make sure that they meet not just the rules of the USCIS, but also our standards for being reliable and worthy projects. And then we bring those projects into our organization, and then we go out and seek investors for the projects, ultimately overseeing the whole process through to having the investors receive the conditional green cards and then ultimately the permanent green cards.
How were you introduced to the EB-5 program?
Well, as I think you know, the president of Inland Investor Visa Group 8 is Buck Johns, and he's been very active in Southern California as a successful developer of infrastructure projects, and he's also very active on the political front, and he's been doing that for nearly 40 years. And in the process, he became familiar with some of the people who are involved in the immigration business from the government point of view, and was made aware of the program pretty early on after its formation. And even though he didn't actively pursue it at the time, he always felt that there was going to be an opportunity there because the idea is so appealing to be able to bring in qualified immigrants, but also to be able to use that offshore money to create jobs in the United States. So it really is the classic win-win. And so it was very, but it's only been in the last 3 or 4 years that we began to actively participate in the EB-5 program and began to develop our own projects.
Why were you attracted to the program?
Well, as I know a lot of people have told you, what really pushed this into high gear, I think, is the overall collapse of the economy in 2008 and the fact that it became so difficult to find capital even for worthy projects. And so with our involvement in infrastructure development in Southern California, we began to talk to a number of developers who really did have good projects, couldn't get reasonable bank financing, and were desperate for money. And the light bulb went off with us about the idea of being able to bring in money from offshore, and it really seemed to be a way to make things happen from an economic point of view here in Southern California that you really otherwise wouldn't be able to get done.
Can you tell us what your role is in the EB-5 program?
Well, we are actively developing projects in Southern California, and we also are actively soliciting investors from overseas, and we are serving in the role of putting them together. And you know, as you may know from our previous interview with Ron Darling, we currently have an affiliation with his American Redevelopment Regional Center, which has been certified by the USCIS to work in Los Angeles and San Bernardino and Riverside counties. And so that's where we are focusing on the projects, and that's is through his program that we're talking to overseas investors.
Now, can you tell us about some of the projects that you are currently working on, such as the Truax building in Old Town Temecula?
Yes, I'd be happy to, because in particular the Truax project, which is our first project, we're very pleased with. I know you've interviewed Bernie, who is really a sensational guy, a true find, a developer who is a man of his word, who actually has the experience and the reputation to be able to to go forward in the community and make something like this happen. So we were very pleased to get hooked up with Bernie, and subsequently we've been loaning him money to have the project get started, and it's now well underway. And back in October we had the topping out ceremony, which was very exciting, where we all went and signed the beam that was placed at the top of the building. And now we were just out there last week, and the building continues to move forward very well. The flooring is in. He's got the stone facing on site, and so it's really been very gratifying to the investors to be able to see these pictures. We put out a newsletter every week where we keep everybody up to date on the project, and it's moving along quite well. But the Truax building is the first of our projects, but we have several others. The second is a project in Banning, also in Riverside County, which of course is very important because all of Riverside County is a TEA, a targeted employment area, so it qualifies for the pilot program under the USCIS EB-5. And the project in Banning has some similarities to the Truax project in that it is a commercial real estate venture. It's a 5.5 acre shopping center that involves a mixed-use office building, possibly a hotel, sit-down restaurant, fast food restaurant. But the similarities are that it's right across the street from City Hall, just as our project in Temecula is. And so the city has a very strong involvement in seeing the project succeed. And the other thing I would mention about it is it's also across the street from a brand new regional courthouse that's being built as we speak. And one of the reasons the courthouse is being put there is because they wanted the amenities that are going to be provided by the shopping center. They wanted a place for lawyers to have offices and people appearing before the courts to have a hotel and a place to eat. So there's a real symbiosis between those two projects that we think is going to make it successful.
Have you broken ground on that project in Banning?
We have not broken ground. We're looking forward to breaking ground in 2013. We also have a very strong set of developers there who are very well respected in the community, very experienced. Art Perlman and Mark Frost are the head of that development team.
Do you have investors for the Banning project?
We've just gotten back from a trip to Asia in the middle of November, and for the first time we began marketing the Banning project, and so we are beginning to get investors lined up for that. And then we have our third project's going to be a very interesting project in Long Beach, and just this year the entire city of Long Beach became a TEA, and this project is a little different. It's going to be a pollution control project. It's associated with the Port of Long Beach. And as you may know, they've had emissions problems at the port, mainly emanating from the cargo ships that pull up. And we're involved with a man named Ruben Garcia who's developed a technology that is barge mounted, hooks up to the ships, and cleans up the emissions from the stack. And so this project is one where there'd be a manufacturing facility in Long Beach, and then there would be the installation of these barges at the port. And so we see that as the number 3 project. And of course, we've been talking to both Bernie Truax and our developers in Banning about follow-on projects there. I know if you talk to Bernie, he's got very big ideas for Temecula, and we support them 100%. Temecula's such an exciting place from a economic development point of view.
Do you know how many jobs that might be created in the Banning project and the Long Beach project?
Yes, we've had the preliminary analysis done, and off the top of my head, the project in Banning I think was in the high 400s, and I believe we've just had an updated analysis done for the project in Long Beach, and I think we're talking about roughly the same number there. And so both of these projects, the project in Banning is going to be from an EB-5 point of view, somewhere in the $15 to $20 million range. The project itself will be bigger, but that's the component that will be an EB-5 loan. And the project in Long Beach is going to be, we think, around $25 million.
Now, you mentioned that you recently went to China. How do you recruit investors in China for your projects?
Well, we have established relationship with a number of agents in various overseas countries, in particular in Vietnam and mainland China and in Taiwan are the three that we're focusing in. And those investors are people who've been involved with the EB-5 program for some time. They've established credibility in those countries. In fact, in Vietnam, we think we're going to be setting up an office in the next few months in Ho Chi Minh City to be able to be dedicated to supporting our projects.
You're going to have an Inland Investor Visa Group 8 office in China?
Well, it will actually be an office for that'll be set up by our principal agent in Vietnam, but he will be dedicated to our projects.
And he will be marketing in China for the project?
Well, he'll be marketing in Vietnam. We are also looking to set up something similar in mainland China.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Tom.
Amy, thank you. It was my pleasure.
Inland Investor Visa Group 8 works with American Redevelopment Solutions Regional Center to develop their projects, which are located in the cities of Temecula and Banning in Riverside County, California. The Truax building in Old Town Temecula is a mixed-use office building expected to be complete in June 2013 and will create 570 new jobs, meeting USCIS's job creation requirement. If you would like to learn more about Inland Investor Visa Group 8, simply click on the story image below. I'm your host, Amy Rios, and I want to thank you for watching this edition of EB-5 Investment Report.